happening right now at noon. Attorneys for Moscow murder suspect Bryan Khoberger asked the court to get rid of the death penalty. Hear why they say it's unconstitutional. Plus, President-elect Trump is already working on his transition back to the White House. We'll take a closer look at his plans.
And we have a beautiful sunny day across the inland northwest. That's the way it will stay for at least a pair of days as we are tracking rain chances this weekend.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for being with us right here on KREM News at noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin with this. Attorneys are arguing whether the death penalty should be taken off the table for Bryan Khoberger. He's charged with killing 4 University of Idaho students back in 2022. In court this morning, Khoberger's attorneys told the judge that putting Khoberger to death, if he is convicted, would be unconstitutional. Attorney Ann Taylor said Idaho has, quote, no viable method for killing someone. She pointed to the unsuccessful execution of Thomas Creech by lethal injection that happened earlier this year. Taylor also brought up concerns around the constitutionality of the firing squad. The judge pushed back on the idea that Idaho can't execute someone now or in the future. He called what happened with Creech an, quote, isolated incident.
But the reality is if he is convicted, we know it's going to be a decade plus before that sentence would be carried out. And who knows what the methods may be then.
But what I'm saying is I don't believe that our Constitution allows for us to move forward and make him sit on death row for years and years and years when the way Idaho's doing it right now isn't really working.
The prosecution says there's, quote, no evidence Idaho can't execute someone and claim the case meets the standard for capital punishment under Idaho law. The hearing is expected to continue throughout the afternoon, and KREM 2 Shannon Mowdy is there listening in, and we will have an update on KREM 2 News first at 4. All right, it is 12:02 right now. We're going to put a pause on the day's news and turn to the forecast. We certainly had some sunshine this morning, but will that continue to last throughout the afternoon? Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is standing by, and I hope, Thomas, you have some answers.
Let me look at that live shot behind me for a second, Laura. Yeah, it looks absolutely beautiful to me. That at Silver Mountain, of course, and I don't think I've seen the skies that blue in quite some time because it looks gorgeous outside. Of course, it's a day for the sunglasses as it will remain sunny all day long here. And in fact, with that sunshine, we are starting to warm up actually pretty nicely for November standards after all. At 43 degrees, that's even 2 degrees warmer than at this point yesterday. So we should end up about 2 degrees warmer than yesterday overall. So that probably puts us pretty close to about 50 degrees by the time the day is through. Here's your satellite and radar. The radar can take the day off. Satellite only finding a little bit of some high level cloud cover just kind of around the inland northwest, but nothing to worry about whatsoever. There's the expected high temperatures today, probably just barely pushing 50 degrees, but that is above average for November standards. So honestly, a pretty nice November day. Should be that way tomorrow, and we stay in the 50s for both Saturday and Sunday. But the weekend will feature the beginning of some rain chances. Just chances and scattered showers at first on Sunday, but I'll show you the time frame that we are most likely going to be getting some more rain and wind. So look for that in just a couple minutes.
This is coming in new at noon. The Fed has announced it is cutting its key interest rate by another quarter point. It is the second straight cut as inflation has showed signs of easing. The move could push down rates for credit cards, some mortgages, and other loans. However, officials also signaled lower confidence that inflation would continue to pull back. So let's take a look at how Wall Street is reacting at this hour. It's been an up and down day for the Dow, dropping right after the Fed announcement. Right now, the Dow up slightly. And a few hours ago, President Biden spoke for the first time since the election. Work has already begun to transition from a Biden-Harris White House to a Trump-Vance administration. Natalie Brand is at the White House, and she brings us this report.
President Biden addressed the nation from the Rose Garden Thursday, acknowledging America is starting a new chapter.
Campaigns are contests of competing visions. The country chooses one or the other. We accept the choice the country made.
The president also commended his vice president, Kamala Harris.
She ran an inspiring campaign, and everyone got to see something that I learned early on to respect so much, her character.
President-elect Donald Trump's transition team is already at work in West Palm Beach under the leadership of former WWE President Linda McMahon. It also includes familiar faces like Trump's two older sons and Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
President Biden has already called Trump and extended an invitation for a meeting at the White House to discuss the transition.
I assured him that I'd direct my entire administration to work with his team.
As for the former president's legal troubles, CBS News has learned the Department of Justice and Special Counsel Jack Smith's office are discussing how to wind down the federal cases against Trump. The DOJ has a long-standing policy against prosecuting a sitting president. One of the pending cases centers around January 6th and efforts to subvert the transfer of power after the 2020 election.
Logically and legally, it'd be hard to prosecute the person who's running it all.
Trump will enter the White House with a Republican-controlled Senate, possibly a House too, with some of those races still being decided. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
And voters in Eastern Washington will have a new representative in Congress. Republican Michael Baumgardner will take over the seat long held by Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers, who is now retiring. This morning, Baumgardner joined up with KREM to talk about his top priority.
Well, I'll be in Washington, D.C. next week to work with the team and meet the other members coming in. And I think really the top priority is really to secure our southern border. You know, I do want to be a representative for everyone here in Eastern Washington, whether you voted for me or not. But I think if we look at the results of Tuesday night, I think there's a clear mandate from the president on down to really get a hold of our southern border. And it matters a lot here in Eastern Washington. You know, there's fentanyl pouring in to our communities. It's causing so much destruction. So that's going to be job one to address that issue.
Watch the full interview with Michael Baumgardner. It is streaming now on KREM 2+. You'll just want to navigate to the news section and then scroll down to politics. If you don't have KREM 2+, it is our new streaming channel, and it is free to download on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV as well. Again, it is free. And this afternoon, we should get a new round of election results. They come as there are a handful of races that remain just too close to call. One of those is the race for Washington's 4th congressional district. Two Republicans are running for the seat, incumbent Dan Newhouse continuing to lead his challenger Jared Sessler, but it is very close, so we will keep you updated when we get that new batch of results. Plus, looking now at the race for Spokane County Commissioner, District 5, incumbent Al French continues to hold a slim lead over his Democratic opponent, Molly Marshall. Spokane County is still counting ballots, and we expect an update coming up this afternoon. And over in Cheney, a proposition to help relieve overcrowding in the Cheney School District remains too close to call. The district is asking voters to approve a $72 million bond. Right now, 59.9% of the votes are saying yes, but it needs to reach that 60% approval to pass. So that's so close. And there is still one Washington initiative that we are currently watching. Results show Initiative 2066 is leaning toward passing. If approved, it would block state and local governments from restricting access to natural gas. The other three statewide initiatives were rejected by the voters. 12:08 right now, still ahead on KREM 2 News at noon. The Spokane Valley Sawmill is facing thousands of dollars in fines. See how the state says the mill violated both health and safety rules.
The energy of like being at the arena at 6 in the morning and people starting to line up when we've told them we're not giving food out for a while, but they show up and they were there in those lines and those families and their little babies in strollers, and I will never forget that.